Welcome to Money Chats and Mishaps, a podcast by Fam Brokers hosted by Renae Long, the director and founder of Fam Brokers.
So thank you very much, Claudia. Now, I always say Claudia, but it's Claudia for everybody else. I like Claudia. So Claudia is a martial arts expert, mixed martial arts, and she has a lot of experience in wellness and safety and all of those things that wrap around us in society at the moment. So, as you know, the podcast is about learning different things and talking about different things and money chats and mishaps. We've spoken about many different things on this program. So it's a fairly new podcast, and I thought it'd be great to talk to Claudia about how and what she does and how that can look at the wellness side of it and help someone's life. You can be de-stressed. You can learn to protect yourself. You can feel safer. It's that inclusion bubble and exercising and things like that. Yes, I've been a client of Claudia, but I'm definitely not a gym junkie or anything like that, but I'm going on walks. And it's about the whole person and different things. So working in communities and health previously, there was a lot of people and things happen to people as well that they think to themselves, and sometimes you get to a time in your life where you're like, you know what, I'd like to be able to do this, I'd like to be able to do that. And my phone's going off, so I do apologise. So, Claudia, could I get you to start by talking about how mixed martial arts can change someone's life for wellness and fitness? And then we'll go into the safety factor and things to do and ask you about what you would do in certain situations.
Okay, perfect. Well, I'll talk about how it's changed my life.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I'm 23, almost 24.
You old person, you.
So old. And I started training martial arts, specifically Arakan martial arts, when I was 18. Okay. I graduated school. I was never super athletic in school.
Were you a kick butt?
In school, no. In school, I was very awkward, very shy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did dance, just as a fitness thing, but it wasn't because I loved it or anything, and I wasn't super keen on doing athletic stuff. But after I graduated and I was working, I wasn't really doing anything as a hobby anymore, and I wasn't doing anything to be fit. Yeah. So I asked about starting up martial arts. I spoke to my mum about it. What do you reckon? What do you think I should try? And she was like, I've seen Arakan around. Why don't you inquire about that? And I did my first lesson, and it was a lot of self-defense stuff. And I was like, wow, I can see myself loving this. I fell in love with it immediately, but I was like, I can see myself really getting into this, and it's something that I was interested in doing, not something that I'd have to force myself to do. Yeah. So that sort of got me onto the fitness journey. Now I love all fitness things, which I never thought that I would. So that's how it's changed my life in some aspects. Because it's just made me want to be a fit person.
You're a pretty amazing fit person.
Oh,
you are.
Thank you.
And you've got amazing ink on you as well. So we have some, we do. Oh, the dragon.
Dragon, Medusa, mushrooms, skeleton. I like this one.
Yeah. Well,
bit of this
and bit of that.
Yeah.
So it's like the martial arts. So and we'll go back to the beginning as well. So you had that passion and you went into it, and you would have helped hundreds of thousands of people do different things with where they want to go, whether it be for a bit of fitness, a bit of safety, a bit of stress relief, just general how to feel a bit better. So I came to you with my granddaughter, and she wanted to be able to have some moves, shall we say, of self-defense, because she was walking a long way at that stage, which she's not now, but she wanted to feel safer. And every time she saw the news, she freaked out. So, and it was great, and it's great for focus as well. So not only the body, but the mind.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more about both. Again, the mind, I've got so much more control over my thoughts now. And it's kind of funny because I'll talk to people who don't do like a disciplinary martial arts and they say stuff and I'm like, is that really how you think? Because I haven't thought like that in a long time. And it's kind of interesting because I obviously don't realise that I'm changing my mind this way and I'm changing
Put it this
minds.
way, if I was in a street fight or being picked on, I'm like, over here, buddy, you're my girl.
Nice. Well, I'll be there for you. I'll be there for you.
I know, you're a good kid.
Back call.
Yeah. Woo! Oh, it's the Renae line. Yes.
Yes. I'll be there right away.
Oh, that's awesome. So tell us a bit about how, I mean, Arakan changed your life. So how can martial arts and that whole wellness side and self-defense side assist somebody in their day-to-day life?
Well, I teach quite a lot of young kids, so I teach quite a few teenagers,
And old
even
people.
a few. Yeah, I have a whole range. But I find specifically with teenagers, because they're still in school, I find that they just become more confident just in themselves. So it means that, you know, they don't really deal with people picking on them. And I've seen it in a few cases with a few of my students where they'll have issues at school and they just won't be the most confident kids and they're not very talkative, and obviously like it's a bit different when we get to know each other and we get more comfortable with each other, but even then I can see the way they interact with people and the way that they hold themselves after a certain amount of time training. Like, it's very rewarding to see how that changes, like just the way that they believe in themselves.
Yeah.
So it's quite nice because it's just a very...
It's like Yoda and the Padawan.
Yes, I'm living my Star Wars fantasy.
Yes. Many people out there are like, okay, now I'm tuning in.
I'm coming in, yeah. See, I'm telling you.
But yeah, it's amazing. So, and going on to the kids. So, there are so many people out there that worry about your kids being bullied or your kids bullying or no focus around children or themselves, and it must really help with focus. So how does the martial arts assist with someone's focus and their confidence?
Well, with their focus, if they're not focusing in their lessons, I will punch them in the head. And sometimes...
In a good way.
With gloves on. But it's one of those things where it's like, if you're not focusing, you're going to get it wrong and you're not going to do something
But how
properly.
does it help them focus? They get to
them.
learn on the focus. Yeah.
Well, I guess it's just a matter of once they feel it in the lesson. So I've felt this where I've reached a point of so much focus. I'm not worried about other stuff going on. I'm not worried about what I'm having for lunch. I'm not worried about stuff that's
Somebody
bothering
that's standing
me.
there, yeah.
Yeah, so I get into a zone, and I think once you can feel the zone and you get into that space, you're like, I like it there.
Yeah.
So once you can like facilitate that for someone, I feel like that's where they start to thrive, and then that's where in everyday life they...
But that's a great segue to stress relief. So when you're focusing on sometimes it's taking that aggression out as well.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So you're taking the aggression out from, you know, punching the pads to learning to block to defend yourself if somebody is attacking. But it's also that focus and that inner strength where they're saying, okay, doing this, I wasn't thinking about that.
Yeah.
So it's amazing how the action precipitates the end result where they're less stressed, they've focused more, they're got that aggression out. It's like when I used to deal with little kids, and you talk about emotional dysregulation and emotions, and you know, you can have everything from an angry dance to understand their emotions through to a paint and, you know, a screaming song session and things like that. So you're focusing that with kids. So focusing it onto physical activities and that, and things that they can do. And they can do it with their friends. You guys have outings. It's great for social and the safety component, which we'll go to. But when you're talking about the kids with the school, that's really important. So can you give us some de-identified good case sort of study information about maybe a student that you've helped where they've been quite inhibited, shall we say, and then they've actually blossomed with that?
I have a few. I'm gonna think about one girl that I just taught this morning. She's only 8, and there's a few different cases where for this one she was very shy, and her parents came to me and they told me, because she's got a younger sister as well who's 6, so they were telling me, like, the younger sister, no problem, like, she is confident, she's athletic, like, she can pick stuff up quite fast, but then because of that, the older girl, who I also found out is on the spectrum, so I didn't know that, but I found out that she is very awkward around people, like, she doesn't like chatting, she doesn't like being touched, like, she really struggled with all of the same stuff that her younger sister did.
Social engagement,
yeah. And when her parents came to me with that, like, they didn't tell me she was on the spectrum, they didn't tell me any of that, they just said, we want her to sort of build her confidence like her younger sister. You know, we got into it, she loves it, like, she eats it up, like, she hits the pads, she focuses, she wants to be super engaged, and she, like, I felt like, you know, she'll hit the pad, she'll let me grab her, and then I found out that, like, she had those issues with people, and I was kind of shocked, because I was like, she does so well in her lessons, and they were saying, like, yeah, it's because you've created that space for her to be okay with that, and she's started to feel it out a bit more, and it's interesting.
Awesome.
Yeah, I was actually so, like, unbelievably, like,
Chuffed.
Emotional. Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that is something that I did for her. She's only 8, so it feels good. And like I said, she's still training, like, she loves it. So that's one.
Everybody talks about cost of living and that sort of thing. So extracurricular activities sometimes get pulled.
Yes.
So self-defensive things can be important for other things. So it can help with the psychosocial components of life, with anything from being afraid to being bullied, feeling more comfortable. You're not being taught to fight and hurt someone. You're being taught to defend yourself in a situation should it arise. Yeah? Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
And that can create so much confidence within someone and the ability to feel like you can protect yourself. Absolutely. So there's a lot of... so I've got clients, and as you know, I work in finance, that will come from different walks of life, and you get some people that have been in DV situations and things like that, and talking to them, it's their safety component. So when you would get maybe a woman or a man, it doesn't matter, who has been in that sort of situation, why would you suggest that what could they benefit from with mixed martial arts?
Definitely the whole confidence aspect, because I feel like once you believe that you can, you know, like, take someone on, if you feel like you have the ability to protect yourself, you sort of, like I said, carry yourself a different way. And then it's kind of ironic, because then if someone can sense that, they'll leave you alone.
Because you do walk very confidently, okay? So I wouldn't take you down.
Thank you.
She'd kick my butt. But apart from that, so tell me a bit about the wellness side of it and what you would suggest women or men to do in addition to, like, martial arts, to make them feel better, get them fit and healthy, and what are other things you do to get that holistic approach?
I personally love the gym, and it's funny, again, it's funny me saying this, because I never thought I would be the kind of person that loves going to the gym, but I look forward to it all the time. And it's interesting, because it's not because I enjoy, like, looking good, which is also great that you get to look good when you go to the gym, or, like, pushing myself. It's just it's just become a part of my life that is, again, very similar to the, like, therapeutic aspect. It's just, like, part of my day. It's part of my routine. If I go, I feel like...
So there's endorphins.
Yeah, like, it's science or whatever. But, like, it's just because it's part of my routine and I've worked it into my life, like, it just becomes, like therapy, and it's amazing. But if the gym is a bit intimidating for some, because I remember, like I said, I started martial arts because I was too nervous to go to the gym. So I feel like it's a really good gateway, because you don't need to go to the gym to train, but I feel like they just pair really well, because you train, and then if you don't train every day, I only train every day because I'm an instructor and I want to be good. But if you don't train every day, like supplementing that with the gym or like walking or Pilates or running, like if you do something, I have some women who do Pilates as well in conjunction with training, and I love it because I do Pilates here and there as well. It's really good for your core and your muscles, and again it's a time for you to get into a space where you're just not worried about anything else. You just focus on yourself.
If somebody was in a situation, so they were walking home at night alone, and so I saw this the other day. So somebody was telling somebody else, and I think it was in a movie as well. There was a lady at a bus stop, and guys were in a van, and then they started to walk over. She felt threatened, and she was told to hit cars until one of the alarms went off, which I thought was a brilliant idea. Probably not something that you'd recommend people to do, but the alarm went off and she went away. And I don't know whether it was in a movie but I know there's been 2 occasions. I think one was in a movie, but there was like a podcast talking about safety. Yeah. And that made me think of it. So if somebody was walking home and somebody grabbed them from behind, what is something that somebody could do if they felt somebody coming closer behind them, or if somebody grabbed them or touched them while they're walking home? Is there anything that could, if anybody's listening and they want to know what they could do to make themselves feel a bit stronger walking home, what's something that you could give to someone?
Well, this is a really tricky question. When people ask me this stuff, it's hard, especially now that I can't show you. So
you can show me. You're on video.
I'll try my best. But basically, the thing that I say when people ask me questions like this is, depends on how they grabbed you, first of all, because there are so many different answers to so many different things. Like, if they've grabbed you on the shoulder, then your arms and your legs are free. So then you can look for stuff like hits to the body, or you can hit to the body. If they've grabbed you on the shoulder, they're probably blocking their face a little bit, so you can't quite do a headshot. So you would go for like a body or a groin shot. But then if they've grabbed you around the arms and your arms are pinned, then it's hard, because you've got to be able to keep your weight down and then try and get, again, if your arms are pinned, it's hard to be able to hit to the face. Yeah, so we have finger locks. Those are good if someone's grabbed and they've got their hands around you there. You would try and, you can break someone's finger from doing the certain finger locks that we do, where you peel it away, and then that sort of gives you a gap to then, again, hit. But my answer is always...
Pull to leave, yeah.
My answer is always to strike at some degree, especially if it's night and you're walking alone and someone's come up
just
and
to get away.
That's very threatening. If it was a different scenario and maybe you weren't out at night and there... like it was a different setting. Yeah, if it was a different setting, you probably wouldn't go straight for the throat and try and run away. But if it's night, and you feel unsafe, you need to make sure that you're doing something to a vital point. So I always go for eyes. I always go for the throat. You want to hit somewhere that's a dangerous
So Claudia's not a violent person, but if somebody's in a situation and you haven't had any experience, and you feel like you want to learn something, self-defense is great for not only your inner self, but that you feel more confident in things. And if you feel more confident, you're less likely to be a victim of a crime. Absolutely. That's not saying you won't ever be, because there's so many people that do, and it's nobody's fault ever in a situation. But that transparency and things to be able to do and think of. So Claudia taught me a couple of things where I hadn't thought of before. So, blocking and moving and getting away and that sort of thing. And I remember years ago, everyone would double around their scarf. That's the easiest thing to pull back on. So in winter, think about the position of your scarf, just as a tip, ladies and gentlemen. But with martial arts, and it's impacted your life so much, and you've created a good job, you love your work, you're very fit, you're very mobile, active, thorough, and I'd hate to get in a street fight. You would beat the bejeebers out of me, all right? You would smash me. So has anybody, and I actually know the answer to this one, so do you intimidate people sometimes? Come on.
Not intentionally.
But you do sometimes, hey.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I think it's just people aren't really used to someone being okay to fight back. You know, like I find...
But you look like you'd fight back.
I would.
Like you do, exactly, and you would.
Yeah.
But you look like you would, and you would.
Yeah.
So you're very confident, you're very lean, I've seen you fight, showing people how to fight, so you can do a hit, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And you know how to protect yourself and others.
Mm-hmm.
So when people look at you, and I hate, and one of the things is perception. So I've had a client, he didn't have teeth, so he wasn't spoken to very well, and people didn't want to deal with him. His wife phoned me up, and I'm like, why are you telling me he doesn't have teeth?
Yeah, well,
She said, because people won't deal with us and don't want to give us a home loan. I said, well, it's not a beauty contest. So we got them a house, but he'd actually saved enough and got teeth. When he got teeth, he re-met previous people, and he said to them, you wouldn't help me with a home loan, but I got one. And they said, well, why wouldn't we help you? He said, I had no teeth before, but now I do. So in that sort of vein and context, like I imagine you were still fit when you were a kid, but you've grown and developed into this very confident woman who can defend herself. And when you go out, you would have somebody have a perception of you. Like, I know you're a bit of a marshmallow. You're a beautiful kid, okay? Absolutely lovely. I know. Sorry, I'm ruining the reputation. But people would make that assumption that, oh, she's a bit hardcore, she's got a bit of ink, she's a bit of muscular, she looked at me like drop dead. And you do have that resting itch face, shall we say. I didn't use the whole word. You do have resting itch face sometimes, because I've seen you look at people and go...
Sometimes it's hard for me to control my face
Yeah.
expressions. It's hard for me to control how I'm feeling on the inside and
Yeah.
stop it from showing on the outside.
So never judge a book by its cover. So when big burly dude, and I'm sure you wouldn't be afraid if they were coming for you to fight back and fight like your life depended on it. And it's the same as if you saw somebody that was your, high pants and pocket protector and, a bit more nerdy looking, shall we say. And I'm a nerd, so God bless the nerds,
I'm allowed
right?
to say that.
You are allowed to say that. So it's not a derogatory term being used. It's people look and perceive each other as different things. So one person might look more like somebody that's more easily attackable and somebody who's not, or not as fit as somebody who is. And people a lot of the time want to get out of their mind and skin, which they'd come to you for. So would you suggest, if somebody wants their children or their partner or their friend or their business colleague, I think it would be great if you went in to businesses and did like a lunchtime session of just fitness and a bit of, these are basic movements to get somebody off you, to move them away, to, do things like that. So if you want to change someone's perception about you, having that confidence does that. And with teaching them what you teach them, you can provide that. So what would you say to somebody who wants to do it but just doesn't have that extra bit of push?
Well, we offer a one-on-one complimentary lesson to begin with.
Yep.
So we get to sort of ease you into it rather than just throwing you straight into a group class. I know some other martial arts you just can go to group classes only, and I would feel quite intimidated doing that. Just even where I'm at now, because if you're going into something that you don't know, I understand the fear of being embarrassed, the fear of hurting yourself. Like, I understand there's a lot at risk when you go to do something like that, which is why I think it's so great, because the one-on-one lesson, I can modulate it, or we can all modulate it to what you need. Yeah. So, for example, I've had teenagers before, right? Like, most of the time, some of them are a bit shy, but most of the time they're just there, they just want to hit stuff, right? So I can get them, I can get them going for it, you know? Whereas there are some...
So do you think it's more they want to have as a stress relief or as a confidence boost?
It depends. Sometimes it's a bit of both, but usually if it's a kid, it's just confidence boosts. They just want to feel good, hit pads, feel like strong, you know. Yeah. Especially as a kid, like you just want to be good at everything, you know what I mean?
That's true.
So I usually like tailor it for that, but then sometimes with, you know, women who have more life experience and they're not there for their ego, or they're not there for a confidence boost, they're there to get help and they're there to feel better. That's when I would sort of modulate it, and we sort of have a bit of a discussion, and then I sort of get them to feel things that would help them.
So it's more about tailoring the approach with you?
Absolutely.
Whether it be the one-on-one or the group sessions. And I know that you do activities and things like that, so tell me about that.
Activities?
Yeah, so you do big events and things like that.
Yes, we call them seminars. So we actually, I was trying to recall some of these so that I had them on call. We do this so that you can sort of build up your threshold. So this is a complete opposite of what I would do for a woman who was coming for a safe space. But once you've done training for a little while, we try and get you to push your threshold a little bit. So the reason that I find this martial art so amazing compared to others that I've seen in the past is because you put yourself in real life situations. So for one of the seminars, it's one of my favorites, we hire out a nightclub, specifically the Havana.
The
Havana R&B nightclub for all of the surfers, for all the surfers, junkies out there. So we hire that out and we get a DJ in, we turn the lights down, and we put you in the setting as if you were in a nightclub. So obviously it's great to go out and train and hit pads and whatnot.
But there's a lot of things that can happen in providing real world experience. So there can be a drunk fight. Yep. You can be groped by somebody. Somebody could attack you. Somebody could hypnol you.
You could just get into the middle of someone else's
fight. Exactly, walking past.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things where I really love it because, you know, we take the pads away, we take away the martial art aspect of 20 reps.
Look at the safety.
Yeah, and you look at, like, the grey area. So it's kind of like, you know, when is it okay to hit someone in the throat? If they've come up and said, hey,
I would say probably never.
Well, someone's grabbed you and they're trying to take you into a van, maybe that's when you'd need it. But if you're true. If you're in a nightclub and someone's come up and touched you and made you feel uncomfortable, but you're in a nightclub, they haven't done anything necessarily wrong, you can't just go whack and hit them, you know what I mean? So that's where we play with that area of trying to make sure that you can know when to go, how to get yourself out of situations like that. Because that's where I've used Arakan most. I haven't really had to fight many people, thankfully. So most of the time it's avoiding situations where you're uncomfortable without having it escalate. And that's what those seminars provide for you.
Okay, that's great.
You get to feel it out a little bit.
So what would be the youngest age you would say is great for kids to learn martial arts?
We have, I believe, 4 years old. We have some 4-year-olds.
Wow, and how old's your oldest client?
You?
So, I'm not going to tell you my age, but I'm old. Okay, so you have a range of clients.
Not even me. I'll tell you our oldest
52,
students.
So that's okay.
Well, one of our oldest students is 77, I believe.
So he's still going hard. From 4 to 77. Like, you can help with someone's confidence, with someone's safety, spatial awareness, that ego that you have or you don't have, and that focus. So it's great for kids on the spectrum, or it's great for kids to feel better about themselves. It's great for women and men for safety and getting out of situations and all sorts of things. So there's so many purposes and good purposes that it's used for. So if you're looking at wholeness and wellness of a person, what would you suggest you would do apart from the gym? So what are good things to do in addition if somebody wanted to have a look at that's going to be part of my new resolution or my new plan?
That's a good question. I usually like to recommend social media detoxes because I find I even
get out of town.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to me. I have like 12-year-old students telling me how they want a phone, and it drives me nuts because like there's nothing good that ever comes out of
Grade 2
scrolling.
students have phones.
It's crazy. I didn't have a phone till I was like 15. It's crazy.
Where did you live? So my kids asked me for a phone in year 3 because their friends had them.
Yeah, and it's just about people having them, and it's. I just think that I've never once gone online and been like, yeah, I feel better about myself. Like, all of this confidence and stuff.
You don't have to be a size 2 to do it. You don't have to be a size 35 to do it. You can do it at any size, any age, any time in your life that you want to.
Yeah, that's it.
Do you want to do it all the time? Do you want to do it to learn something specifically? Is it going to be targeted? Is it going to be part of your life for the next 25 years? So what do you prefer? Single classes, one-on-one, or groups?
For my personal training or teaching?
Anything.
That's
Both.
tricky. That's tricky because when I train, I love a one-on-one lesson because I really get to get all of my, all of
Your focus
my
and everything,
all of the techniques that I'm doing. Like I really get all of the focus from my instructor, and I get all of the points that I need, and I can spend that hour working on that. Whereas in a group class, it's harder for me. I don't know why. It's harder for me to stay in that zone when I'm in a group class because, there's so many different things, and that's why I think it's good to have a mix of the two.
But I think you're an introvert, extrovert.
Both.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, yeah.
So
I love it.
When you get comfortable.
Yeah, and that's why it's hard.
But at first you're a little bit shyer.
Perhaps.
Maybe?
Maybe not anymore.
No.
Depends.
Just kick ass.
Depends on the scenario. But yeah, like in a group class, like I know all of the people I train with, and so then it's a bit harder because to put yourself in the mindset of like I'm training to defend myself, I'm training to make myself stronger. It's hard because like I know all these people, we're all learning together, and it's hard because we have such a good community as well.
Yeah.
So I appreciate all of my training partners, and I love being able to learn and have these people help me learn, like guide me into learning. But then it's hard because I'm trying to stay in a zone, I'm trying to focus, but if I do something wrong, like...
So what do you think the biggest benefits are about learning martial arts?
Just in general? Immense focus.
Yeah.
Very good discipline. I feel like if I hadn't started this training journey, I wouldn't be as disciplined with the gym. I wouldn't be as disciplined with my everyday life, doing stuff that I don't want to. Yeah. That's just part of being an adult. Yeah. And that's hard, but I feel like that's helped a lot. Meeting people, my ability to talk to people just in general conversation is a lot better than how it was. And I think that's just because I have learnt to sort of accommodate for people as an instructor. Like I've learned how to guide people into talking to me and get people to open up to me about stuff that's happened in their life. So then in everyday life, just having conversations with people, like I'm more present with people and I'm just more switched on about them and it's more about them. And then also fitness, obviously, like I said, confidence, just everything,
All the good bits and pieces.
Everything in my life.
There's so many things that make people's lives better and fuller.
Mm.
So this is just one piece of the puzzle that can really make a difference.
It makes a lot fall into place, I find. And it has for a lot of people. It might not be the same journey as mine, but I have found that this, for other people implementing it into their life, has really changed how they work, changed how they study, changed how they like conversate with people. Like it's incredible.
Nice. So do you want to add anything before we finish, we wrap it up?
Well, I would say to anybody who's contemplating starting martial arts or trying to figure out if there's anything that they should, try and get themselves to do, I would say reach out. Preferably Arakan, reach out to us at Arakan Martial Art. But anything is a good step to start with. And, give it a try. I think if you don't try something, you'll never know whether it's something that you enjoy or not.
And you never know, because you can sometimes even making yourself feel uncomfortable makes yourself comfortable.
Absolutely. You need to get yourself
you need
space.
to try different things and get out there and do different things. You can change your whole life.
Absolutely. I wouldn't be as confident as I am now if I hadn't put myself in situations that quite literally made me uncomfortable and stressed. But then afterwards, you feel like a rush of relief. You're like, well, I did that. And then if I'm ever in a situation where I feel like that again, I'll be okay.
Yeah. Nice. So thank you very much for being on my podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
And if you need her, it's www.arakan.com.au.
Arakan Martial Art.
arakanmartialarts.com.au. Thank you very much for your time. And can't wait to catch up soon. You can teach me more moves.
More moves.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.